Okay, so the NEaT project has recently released the confirmed list for Zone 5, even though I had to ask for it. And that means that people can now make NEaTs for Zone 5. And that also means that the NEaT development channel is no longer dead, hopefully. So yeah, now that that happened, I thought that I should make up a video on how to, well, basically a tutorial video on how you can just make a NEaT for the game. Now, of course, I'm talking about the normal NEaTs, the NEaTs that are based off on actual Jukes towers, not the custom one. The custom, that's just, you just make anything with them. But for the normal one, you have to follow, sets of rules, sets of formats, and all of that. And now that I no longer make no more NEaTs anymore, I thought that the best thing I can do is probably pass up the knowledge that I have accumulated for the past 4 years. Yes, I have been in the community for 4 years now. Okay, the first thing first, you need to have Roblox Studio. Now that is really obvious, but very rarely I see some people come into the server, the Discord server, and say that, hey, can I submit my NEaT from goddamn RB Creator or something? They're like, that's just not how it works. Okay, just download Studio and start working on it. It may seem hard at first, but eventually you get used to it. Okay, let me just open Studio right here. It's been a while, so there's this new UI which I do not like. Anyways, new experience. Baseplate. Okay, yeah, I guess the default is this one then. Okay, so first thing is you need the kit, and this is like a bit widespread problem with TNB, the development, is that a lot of people just doesn't use the actual kit, or they just use like the JTART kit or something, and then when all the different NEaTs have different scripts and different kits, they all come together, and then the whole fucking area just buggy as shit, which is what's happening with Zone 4. Was happening, I think. I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Basically, yeah, just the actual kit for a game that's made for a game so that nothing buggy happens. Be less work for the developers also, so that they don't have to fix everything. So yeah, I'll also be pasting the link in the description of the video so that it's easier to find. So this is the kit over here. Okay, so if you've never used Studio before, that's gonna be a bit difficult, but I'll just walk through everything that you have to do first quickly over here. The fuck is this? Mouse cursor? Oh, what? Why? So yeah, the first thing you do is this thing here. Go to workspace, properties, and wait, yes, turn it off, and then physics stepping method property, which is this thing, to fixed, and also save the game. Upload the game. So tutorial, save. Oh yeah, I can also turn it off as well, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. So we first have to move the scripts themselves into their correct positions. So yeah, inside the script folder itself or model here, it actually tells you where all the stuff that need to go, so you don't really have to find them yourself. Just have to follow the name of the models here and just put them on the correct place over here. And you're done with scripts. Now you can play the game. No, you're not. Okay, you have to also do this thing, which is turning on R6. And oh yeah, lastly the music module as well. But I think you can go here for now, and then you can just, if you want to change this thing, just bring it out and then change the side of the whatever. I'll get to that later. Okay, so the first thing is that now you've done putting scripts in obvious place, is the rules. You gotta need to know the rules of building everything here so that you don't make mistake in the middle of the making of needs. Alright, here are the rules. First off, you cannot put inappropriate stuff that violate the Roblox TOS, obviously. And the NEaT outsides can be at maximum 100 studs. Now, this is something I'll get into later when making the gameplay itself for NEaT, but this is pretty important. Keep in mind, only builders can make custom client objects for custom needs. Don't have to keep it in mind, everyone, because we're not making custom needs. Jump reducers are banned. I'll explain this later. And you can only submit 3 times, basic thing. And needs that are harder than catastrophic cannot be submitted unless asked for. Okay. Part counts. This is pretty important. So usually you don't really have to worry about part count for normal needs, since most of the time they don't really exceed that amount. Okay, now that we know the rules, we have to get some plugins. Plugins are really helpful quality of life stuff that you can just get for free on Studio. So this is my plugins right now. I also be linking this in the description for you all. First off, we have Archimedes, which is a tool that you can use to make basically perfect circles. So basically what this plugin does is, normally when you're trying to make some sort of like circular part that connects to each other, you would move them over here and then rotate them, and then most of the time it would be really difficult, or it would just leaves hole like this over here. But with this thing, you can just press render and input any angle you want, and then it will make the it will not leave any hole here. So that will be really helpful for when you encounter any parts that need to do that. Next up, we have the Jado kit tool itself here. Now, the only really important thing personally I think is this thing on the plugin itself, which is this thing over here. It removes all the double client object values. So for example, I'm just going to take this spinning platform over here. So whenever you're trying to, like, let's say, duplicate the parts of this whole client object over here, you may sometimes accidentally select the client object value itself and then duplicate it. And whenever there's two values, client object values inside of a model, the client object itself will just break. And when you're making a whole NEaT over here, there's like tens and tens of different client objects. You can't really keep count on which one you just accidentally duplicated with the client object values. So this thing will be really helpful. You just click a single click and it just removes all the double values, and then just fix everything. This thing over here. Next up, we have this thing, which is as a rope maker. The thin ropes that you sometimes see in towers, you can make them really easy with this plugin over here. You don't have to make them one by one. You can just click on a part, click another, and then there we go, a thin rope. This one is a part counter. This one is kind of inaccurate, so you should actually take this one over here, which accurately counts all the parts that is inside your game, so that you can keep track on whether or not you have exceeded the part count or not. Surface, this tool makes it so that you can put studs on stuff really easily. Character loader, maybe you need it, I don't know. And then all the blockers tools here, which is pretty useful. And the welder. Okay, now that's out of the way. Next things you should do is select the NEaT you actually want to make. I have the Zone 5 list here. So look at this and then see which one that hasn't been made, like it ends with the question marks over here. So okay, for example, I'm gonna select this one over here. Not even a sovereign traveling by whoever. Now that you select the NEaT, first thing I would do is to get to the tower's wiki page itself. Now this is a really helpful thing to do, because not only it lists out what music the tower itself has, it also lists out the colors of the frame, which you can just copy and paste them into the NEaT frame instead of just going by eye and just blindly picking the colors, which used to be a problem in the past. But now that the wiki page done this, it's just really easy to solve now. Okay, now that we have the page open. Okay, so the frame themselves aren't actually that necessary, since inside of the lobbies they already have the frame, the portal implemented already, so you don't really have to do all this. It's more like for custom NEaT type thing. Okay, so I got rid of that. And first off, the frame. Yes, of course, the frame. I'm just gonna mention this quickly. The rule here is that, you know, since NEaT only has 6 floors and the tower has 10 floors, you can't convert all the tower floors into NEaT because the NEaT only has 6 floors. So the rule here is that you can only take floor 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. So the odd floor and the 10th floor of a tower, because then it adds up to 6 floors, which would be a NEaT. That's how it is. You cannot change up the order unless you DM a developer and then give out a Friday reasoning. For example, let's say for this tower I said that, hey, can I change the O-ring from 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10 to 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 10 or something, which is not really a good goal to count, but like for a reason of maybe because this floor, the 2nd floor or the 4th floor has more memorable part, or has a better part, or has a better transition or whatever. Just give a good reasoning, and if the dev says okay, then you can do it. And of course, when submitting the NEaT itself, you have to say that I have the permission from this dev to do this, to make this change, right? So that you understand, we shall take the floor colors of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, just like that. Just copy and paste it onto the color value. Okay, now that we have the colors done, now next up is the most important step. Okay, so personally I found 2 ways of making a NEaT. Since you're making a NEaT that is based off of a real tower, you need to get the material of the tower and then convert them to a NEaT. And to do that, you need a replica of the tower, so that you know where to put something or where to do something at. Now, the first way of doing it is to get a model of the actual tower you're basing it off on. So for Tower of Sovereign Traveling, I would copy its name and paste it on the model tab to see if there's any of it available. No. And then if that doesn't work, I'll do it with the acronym of the tower. Oh Lord. So is this it? This is not it. Oh boy. This is difficult. So yeah, with newer towers, this problem may occur a lot, is that there is no model for the tower available. Now, even if the acronym itself doesn't get your result, the last step that you can do is go to the profile of the tower creator and see if it's available in the inventory. You can see that they have their inventory public here, which is a really nice thing. Shall go to the models tab. Okay, model and packages, and we'll see searching for tower of sound charging. Okay, I don't think that they have their tower model public. Well, that sucks. So now that you cannot find the model for the tower, you're fucked. No, just kidding. The second way, this is the second way of building NEaT that I've discovered myself, and I don't know if anyone else discovered or not, is that you go to the places of the tower creator and then go to the tower place itself. God, this first made like 15 different games. I guess it's just, yeah, oh, here it is. I mean, if you can't find the place for the tower, you can just go to JTAR's practice place, and then you can just see the tower there. So now that you have got the place for the tower, I think you know where it's going. Yep, that's right. Since there is no public model of the tower, the next best thing you can do is to use the game itself as a reference rather than just putting the tower inside of Studio. You now have to use Roblox itself as a reference to build the NEaT. So yeah, so for example, again, so I can see there's a thing in model. Now I have to go switch between Roblox and Studio and Roblox and Studio to build whatever is inside of the tower. Yeah, obviously it's way easier when you have a model itself inside of the game as a reference rather than having to alt tab every single time you have to make something. But it's a way to do it. So if you really want to make a NEaT for a tower like this that doesn't have a public model, then that's that's your choice. I've made a ton of model. I have made a ton of NEaTs that doesn't have a public model, and every single time I had to go to the game place itself and just do the switcheroo over here, which is really inefficient. But there's nothing else you can do, unless you want to ask the tower creator himself. I guess it's not like that's impossible to do, but maybe you get a model. Who knows? So I guess that's technically the third way to do thing is to ask the tower creator itself for the model. But some of the time they may say no because they may not want to associate with the NEaT project since it has gone through a plethora of drama in its lifespan. But who knows? Maybe you still get the models anyways. Okay. Now that we have discovered the way to build, no, wait. There's still a fourth way to get a reference on your NEaT here. That is called stealing. So what you can do is use a what do people even use today? They used to use Synapse X, but I think that's just gone now. So you can use whatever hacking program that takes that compiles or takes a place from a page from Roblox itself. You can take the place and then put it inside your game. Basically stealing. But it is unethical. But who else gonna discover that you did that? Now it is a way to do it, so it's your choice. Whatever you do, just don't get banned of Roblox. That'd be the last thing you want when making a NEaT here. I think that we have got all the basic knowledge out of the way. It's time to actually get to building the NEaT itself. Now let's go over the gameplay aspects here. Just like there's multiple ways of getting a reference for your NEaT, there are multiple ways of making gameplay for your NEaT. Now what I mean is that since you're confined to such a small space here, 20 by 20, whereas the tower has 100 by 100 studs wide of an area, you cannot put every single jump inside the tower. Now the biggest offender of this I can find is actually not even a somewhat simple scaling in Ring 8. If you play that NEaT, it will take you at least like 5 to 8 minutes to complete it for a medium difficulty NEaT. And how did that happen? Well, I mean, if you play the thing, you can tell that first off, it has a jump reducer, and secondly, it's like the thing is that they just took like every single jump from the tower and then just shrunk them down. They didn't even remove any section, so like it's like ultra cramped. It's super duper cramped. There's like no breathing space at all. And then yeah, the fact that they also included almost everything, it makes it super long, which no one wants to play a NEaT that long, especially a medium difficulty NEaT. Yeah, and just always remember, you're making a NEaT, you're not making a miniature tower. It's supposed to be a shortened version of a tower, correct? Okay, just keep that in mind. So what you have to do is cut out a lot of jumps, and but still making it feel like the original tower itself. Okay, I'm gonna go over every single technique of building gameplay for NEaT. Now you have to select whichever technique of building gameplay that you prefer the most. But I mean, you could also mix and match them if you want, but personally I would just stick to one of them. Each of them also goes in a sort of difficulty as they go by the list here. So first off, we have using a jump reducer. Now as of recent, jump reducers are banned now, so I'm gonna go over this quickly. So what you were able to do previously is take a jump modifier over here. Instead of giving you more jump power, you reduce them to like 35. So yeah, basically your jump height is lowered, which means you can cramp more and more gameplay, because now your jump height is scaled to the NEaT itself. But with the withdrawal is that it feels like ass to play. Now what I mean by this is, let me just go to playtest over here. Oh, what the fuck? Why is it so bright? Okay. So usually you jump this high inside of the game. It's like almost half the height of a frame or a floor itself. But if you take a jump reducer, the jump is way lowered, and it feels awful because it's just not used to it. It feels weird. It feels bad, which is why it was banned. So this method is no longer viable because it's just banned now. It used to be the easiest method of making a NEaT because you just don't really have to you don't have to worry about most of the things. So now that's gone, we have the next step: invisible walls, if I'm correct. So let me just make a jump real quick over here. Of course, always remember have the amount of snapping that you prefer on the side over here. Now, okay, this is a bit of a crude example over here, but basically what you want the player to do over here is jump from here to here to here and then to here. But as you can see, they can obviously just skip from here to here. So you don't want that to happen. Therefore, you add an invisible wall as a way to not make it possible to get over there without making this jump first to over here. And you know, since this thing doesn't really exist in the original tower itself, you would make them transparent. Now, the recommended amount of transparency is about 6 to 7 or 5 if you want to, but you should never go for 1. So whenever someone goes, hey look, I can just skip from here to here, but then they hit this wall, and then they weren't able to see the wall itself in the first place, so then they would think, oh shit, this needs sucks. It doesn't have a very clear indication of what to do. So then you have to put it at a amount so that you can still see where the wall is. And most of the time, you would make the wall extremely thin, like this, so that it would not really affect the gameplay that much. Of course, this is one of the methods of building gameplay you can go with, but I wouldn't really recommend it because it feels really janky, and most of the time it's just still somewhat skippable. And maybe even down the line you will have to make some sort of part for next section of the tower, and then miraculously the wall itself sometimes may even affect the gameplay. Like here, for example, if I want to go from this spot to this spot, this thing would inherently affect the gameplay, because then you can just stand on top of the wall and then get to this jump over here. Now, a way that I see other people solve this is that they just add like a conveyor on top of the wall itself, which is like still really awkward, and you can still really bypass it unless you add like an insta kill on top, which is that would be stupid. That just make tower horrid to play. So yeah, invisible wall is a way to make gameplay, but I wouldn't really recommend it, since there are way better options. Which brings me to the third one, which is the best out of all of them, and that is button-based gameplay. Let me get a button real quick, and also goes with a deactivator. Basically, how this goes is that for a section, so to prevent people from skipping a large section of the gameplay here, you would input some buttons in the way. So here we have a simple jump where you want the player to go from here to here to here, and you don't really want them to skip this here. So how you can do it is getting a button and placing it on the jump that you have to make. For example, over here, you would make this thing invisible, and also removing its decal so it's truly invisible, and then you will make this part over here button activated, so that whenever you step on the button, this neck part will appear, so that the player have to make this jump for the next section to open up. And then if they make a mistake and fall, you would have a button deactivator at the bottom, or the jump before the button itself, so that whenever they fall, they can just have this newly part open up. They still have to make this jump to get the button so that this thing would pop up. So yeah, that's the basic gist of it. Of course, to do this, you just also need the button to have the full height bool value here, so that it actually becomes 100% invisible. Because I mean, for example, if you have like 7 different parts inside of a floor that's just slightly visible but not fully invisible, it just clogs up everything. So you have to make it fully visible. Now, to demonstrate this more clearly, I'm gonna go into one of my NEaT, because that's the main way I build NEaT. So for example, we have a not even a triangular terror over here, which relies a lot on buttons. Right here is a prime example of what's happening. So you have to start at this part over here, which then activate this next wedge, so that you can do this wrap and then make it to the next floor. But if you fall off the next floor, you see the wedge isn't there anymore, and you have to get back to this part for the thing to activate again. That is the basic gist of it. It's the easiest way to make gameplay inside of NEaT that isn't skippable or very clogged or cluttered. That's the better word saying here. Now this is after everything has been done already, and my friend just noticed me about another way, a trick that I have never ever noticed before, and I did not even know it exists. So let's say any client objects can become button activated if you name them button activated platform with their respective color or the correct color override value. But the thing here is you can do the same for a button. You actually only need to come on. Oh. Add a bool value named button activated, and apparently that works. And it works with the TNP kit also, so you know this is actually possible and legal. Wow. So yeah, this is a thing now, button activated button. Now you might be asking, why would I really need this? Is this really a necessary thing? Now this is a bit a crude example here for this NEaT here, because there doesn't need to be a lot of buttons on the first floor. So I mean, this is a kind of shit example, but let's say someone can coil the NEaT or something. They can coil and touch the button earlier than expected, because well, the coil helps them to do that, and they would activate the next section. But now you have to press this button to then progress like that. I think a better example here is to actually open another NEaT that me and my friend are making right now, which is here. So yeah, we are trying to make the NEaT version of Tower Wicked Wedges, and as you can see, there's like a ton of buttons on the first floor, because there's a lot of gameplay on the first floor on the tower side here. So what he figured out that he would just put like 5 or 6 buttons here. So it will start off by getting over here. Now here's a button here, you can see it. It's only for development. I'm gonna turn it off when it's in game. It's supposed to go over here. So by pressing this button, this one gets activated, and only then you can press it. And then he also put a button deactivate over here, which deactivates this one. It's crazy. Which then makes it you can not press this thing, and there's new progression routes, which takes you to the second floor. Very cool, and extremely helpful too. And of course, to deactivate everything, there's just a tons of button deactivator on the floor, which resets everything. This is by far the most optimized way optimized way to make a NEaT, by far. And this should be the one you're using too, because it makes everything easier. It just makes you don't even have to think about patching most of the stuff anymore with a system like this, button activate button, that is. So yeah, this is definitely the way everyone should be going for. Okay, cool. That should be it. On to the rest of the video now. Now that we got that out of the way, we shall go make the first floor. Okay, so after 3 hours, I have whipped up a roughly finished version of Floor Run right here, and I'll go step by step on how, on what my process is of making all this. So okay, first off, got playtesting. I don't have the song, but I'll get to that later. So yeah, this is still some stuff missing, but that doesn't matter right now. Okay, so first off, we are going to go with the gameplay first. So yeah, again, the basic gist of making gameplay here is that shortening jumps. Just remove a bunch of jumps that you feel that are unnecessary, and then stitching all these sections together. So here for this part, I use Archimedes to create these these corners right here, these circular turns for these blocks, and then I added one of these platforms right here to get to the button over here. Again, I decided to not add these because there's just not enough space, since again it's a small cramped area here. I forgot to add these main curve bricks here, so I just add it later. Okay, so instead of going back, the progression line here is actually going forward to these two lines here, and over here we got to the pushing platforms, which will put us on this other side and then TP us up here. Same goes for the NEaT. So yeah, what I just did there is put a button activated teleporter, which was activated from this, oh my god, this button over here, which activated the teleporter, and then which puts me downwards, which teleport me over here and fall down, and while I'm falling down I hit a button right here. And what that button did is that it activated this platform, this loose platform, and then this truss jump over here. And what also interesting that I implemented is that you see this key over here? It's supposed to be this thing, but basically you might think, oh, can I just skip and get that right there? No, you can't. Okay, you know what, since there isn't really a point of getting over here, so the best thing you can do is just to block it off. Now you can do this for most things that you find that you deem unnecessary and just block them off. But then you gotta be worried about something. You see, since you have basically put two parts together over here, you are basically making a wall hop jump. So now if I hop in game, I can basically do a wall hop over here and then probably just skip a bunch of sections. Now how to prevent this is really simple. You just simply make these top parts can collide false, and that's it. But here is a bit of a special case, since there is also exists these four corners which you can also wall hop on. Now here's the advanced technique of patching wall hops here. First off, you shorten this invisible part wall here to just expose the four corners. Now that you have four corners, you do this. You make this thing CC false, and then you extend this corner all the way down. So now you can't wall hop anywhere on this part, but you can still hit this visible part over here, since the invincible part is can collide through, and that's how you do it. And then I'm gonna do it for the four corners over here, and this part is no longer wall hoppable, which basically patch this jump over here, I guess. Yeah. So okay, what I was trying to show off here is that you could not take the key without going the actual intended route first, because the key is currently blocked up by another invisible wall, and this invisible wall is button activated, and whenever you press the button over here, it will be gone, and then you can actually get the key. But I kind of just patch that by making this inaccessible. Anyways, let me just get back to where I was. Over here. Right, and I can get the key, and then this section opens up with the just jump, and then on to the third floor. Basically just remove these jumps. I did one of these since they are a pretty important part of the floor, and I added the final truss jump over here. Now what most beginners would do is a big mistake over here. What they normally do is that they add a teleporter at the end of a floor, because even inevitably you will encounter a problem where at the end of, say, like floor 3 over here, it makes it so that the transition to like floor 5 or floor 7 really awkward. So let's say this is they are kind of connecting over here though, so not really a good example. Okay, I'm just gonna keep a rough example. So let's just say floor 1, instead of ending over here, it actually ends like over here, and for floor 3 you need to be over here. So what most people will do is that they put a teleporter over here and TP them to the beginning of the third floor. Now you can do that, but I would not recommend doing so. Because why? Because it ruins the flow of the gameplay. Now what you should do is that you can modify a little bit, a little tad bit of the gameplay. So what I'm trying to say is that you can try to switch up the directions, try to remove a bunch of jump, find which one suits your build best. Just in a way to make the gameplay flow really nice. Don't really rely on teleporters since it ruins the flow, and just experiment. Just try to sing. See. Just also play the tower yourself to get a feeling on which type of stuff that you should implement it. If this is too troubling for you, if this is like too troubling for you, you can try playing some NEaTs that are already in the game, or try to play some or confirm for later areas and NEaTs, or you can just post your NEaT on the playtesting forum, where there's a forum where you can just ask others to play your NEaT and test it for you, which is a really good way to see if people are satisfied with your build. So just like how I implemented a anti-wall hopping technique with this pillar thing over here, you have to do the same for the frame. This is like the first thing you do, because most of the time people don't really think about it, but there are a tons of skip that is possible with the frame itself, whether inside or outside, because it can skip a lot of jumps. Who knows? And literally the easiest way to fix it is just to do the same thing that I just said before, which is say making all this one side, calculate false, duplicate the one, make it calculate true, and then making it invisible. Yeah, it sounds weird, but creativity actually matters a lot in the making of gameplay itself. Again, as in how you implement the gameplay, or how you build up a section, how you make it transition from one place to another. Another good example here is that this section over here, which is supposed to be this gigantic box with gameplay inside of it. Now, there's no way I can make a gameplay section this small in size. So instead of doing that, whenever it's time to get into this section, I'm just gonna move the player into another place, like this box over here, which I guess kind of count as a extension, but is an interesting way to fix this problem of not having enough room. Just placing another one elsewhere, so you have to deal with extreme crampness there. Okay, now we're moving on to the design section. And yeah, this is the one big problem about not having a model inside of Studio for your NEaT. The colors of frame here you can already copy from the wiki page themselves, but the color for these thing over here, you can't really just copy them from anywhere, and so you have just to eyeball it, which is really annoying. Same for also the neon stuff as well. You have to guess which color fits the best, and my colors are really off right now, but I mean that's fine. Not that big of a problem, but it is still a problem. And for example, stuff like these, I guess the best thing I can do is just to take a screenshot of the thing that I'm trying to put inside the game, preferably on a straight angle like this, and upload it to Studio as an image, and then slap it on this brick, for example. Same could go for these custom signs. Yeah, signs like these, you can just type it out yourself and change the font that way. I mean, yeah, mostly designed about making everything as accurate as it is inside the tower, which wouldn't be too hard if you have a reference material already. Now, I'm not sure how nitpicky the curators are, but personally, since for some reason I have this feeling that I have to really make it really close to the original reference here, even by adding like these wedges over here, or making the top of this pyramid very ugly, like inside the game. Just a few things that you have to take in mind with like those. Now, even if you don't implement those extreme details like that, it's not like the curators themselves gonna go to the game and then compare it one by one, like how we're doing it right now. You can probably just get away with missing a detail here or two, but for me personally, I don't want to do that. I want to make it as accurate as possible to the original material. Of course, some of the stuff here is they had to be changed to keep in mind with the gameplay. For example, this tower I made it kind of as false. Same with this thing, because I mean you could jump it and just skip everything, which is not ideal. And there's not a lot of talk about design here, since I mean, who would play a NEaT for design anyways? What really matters here is the gameplay. Alright? Okay, now on to the last section, which should be creativity, and that consists of probably the music section only, right? And the framing. Most of the creative points you get is probably from the gameplay itself already, so I guess there's only music left. Okay, so again we revisit the wiki page again, and it, other than the colors of the frame, they also provide the music for the floors of the towers, which is really good. You can also actually download the song themselves right here, which is extremely nice. It's really good. The wiki helps a lot on these two aspects over here. So yeah, you can just download the song and upload them straight to Roblox and then putting them in your NEaT. Now, it is possible that there are some minor inconveniences that you may encounter during your journey to make a not even a tower. Let's see. The first big thing is that some music may be not uploadable because of probably copyright. That's the only reason why you can't upload a piece of media here. So here's my advice. It's either you add in a remix of the song, or this is the more advanced method. You go into any audio editing software, you slow down the song for like 30%, upload it to Roblox, and then in Studio implement the song, and then modify this property right here, playback speed, to 1.3. Yeah, that was extremely loud. Yeah, so yeah, you just basically slightly editing the song so that you can bypass the system, and that's how I've been dealing with all the sound that are copyrighted for Roblox, which is a way to do it, but it requires a bit more work. I mean, if 30% doesn't work, you can try any other different things, all that. Yeah, it's a pain, really. Now, the next thing that many people don't do is playtest their own NEaT. This is really important. You have to playtest your NEaT and feel it for yourself if it's actually good or not. Many of the time, I play people submissions. A good problem is that they just do not playtest their NEaT at all, or very little. As like for a few minutes, for the first few minutes, I can just either find skips, find extremely inconsistent jumps, or just section with very confusing gameplay indications, and all that just stem from you're not playtesting your NEaT enough. And of course, just playtesting it yourself is also not enough. You have to ask others to play it and see what they think of it, or to see just to see what their opinion is of your NEaT. Once again, the best way to do that is to go to the NEaT feedback channel on the Discord server. Just make a new post, and then people will play it and then tell you if there's anything wrong with your NEaT. And then after that, you make new changes to your NEaT, playtest it yourself, and then keep asking others to play it until it is perfect. Now the NEaT you just saw before it's fully finished now. It's for Zone 4. It's a NEaT that me and my buddy made, and it really accomplished the button-based gameplay really well. And I'm just gonna quickly show you all the basic gist of it. Once again, first floor, very simple. It's like comprised of 4 buttons, which float really nicely. Lots of space, a lot of breathing room. Nothing to block off at all. Now for the second floor here, these walls, well, these are in the original town themselves, but these walls over here are actually not in the tower. These are the invincible walls I talk about on the second type of building. Now in this case, the walls are actually used really well. They actually do not obstruct the gameplay that much, and they show you where to go. So if there were not invisible walls here, obviously you could just skip from here to there, but with the help of the walls you can also see that you had to go over here behind the walls to continue with the NEaT. Another good example here is this floor, where there are more invisible walls over here. As you can see, it blocks you off and it shows you where to go, just like going on the floor below. Now let me go to my sections over here that I also utilize invisible walls. You see right here. So the thing is, I figured that if I were to make this part of the floor button activated, it would not be really clear on where you had to go or where I should put said button, which I guess would have been over here or over here. So instead I just put a small invisible wall over here, so that the player knows that they actually have to go over here, around here, just like how the original tower goes. Up here and finally all around like that. Now here's this part might be getting a little bit complicated, but this is like the pinnacle of button gameplays here. Again, we have a very small mini frame here, and it looks like you can just jump onto the top of this part over here. But the thing is, I put up a button activated wall. Now the thing about this wall is it would not deactivate until you actually do the floor the normal way that you're supposed to, which is to get inside over here, press the move forward, get over here, and then you now can access up here. But if I fall off, I can no longer get up there again. I have to play the whole thing again, like so. Now I can get back up because I made this whole thing button deactivated or button activated. And then you know, there's also tons and tons of deactivators on the bottom here, so if you fall, everything would disable like that. I know it's complicated But if you just experiments a lot with it, you can eventually figure out like solution to most skips, or patch any type of skips possible. It's a lot of work, but it's pretty fun figuring out the ways to patch skips and stuff. It's truly the delicacy of button activate gameplay, I guess. So here's actually what I did. So these parts are button activated. You have to press a button to remove them. Where is the button, you may ask? It's over here. But the button over here is also needs to be activated by a button in here, right in the morpher itself. So now if I just go over here, it's not like the top's gonna disappear. I have to press this button, which then allows me to press this button, which then opens up the top part. Very simple, isn't it? Okay, I think that should be it. And that is the definitive way of how one should make not even a tower, for the NEaT project. Always remember to play the original tower, get a feel for it, implement the gameplay in a creative manner, design it as closely as possible to the tower itself, even the frame. Playtest a lot, ask others' opinion about it, and boom, you got yourself a NEaT into the NEaT projects. And then you probably won't even see it in game for the next 3 years. Why did I spend 2 hours making this whole first floor, even though I'm not even gonna make the whole thing? I guess at least I had fun making a video. This video is probably extreme shit. It feels so fucking bad. Hey, at least I had fun making it, so that is that, I guess. Stay tuned for next video, where I eat my own shit. So normally building the normal NEaTs, they don't really usually. Oh my god.